Afternoon. While in Richmond on our, I guess you would call it our anniversary celebration, we decided to go to the Hollywood Cemetery, not realizing, although we should have known better, that it was basically a cemetery to the Confederate soldiers. And while driving through it and realizing that, I kept thinking to myself, how do I feel about the celebration of all these people who fought for disunion? And right here, I'm standing at the cornerstone of this entire cemetery, this statue of Jefferson Davis. And the first thing that they say about him is that he was an American soldier and a defender of the Constitution. A defender of the Constitution. And they erected this statue in the 1900s. But one of the interesting things that it says, I'm walking around the statue, is they describe him as the President of the Confederate States from 1861 to 1865. But here it is: faithful to all trust, a martyr to principle. He lived and died, the most consistent of American soldiers and statesmen. In fact, he betrayed his oath of office. He studied at West Point, and he betrayed the work that permitted him to be a soldier. And he's still celebrated, obviously, here in Richmond, Virginia. But worse than that, he is celebrated in the new Republican Party, the party that believes in lying and violating the law and the Constitution without interruption, without respite, no matter the danger, to what we pledged was a nation united, a nation that believed in equality, which certainly was not a mark of the Confederate States, a nation that saw itself in comity, one group with another group working for the principles enunciated in our Constitution and over the years, the Bill of Rights and the amendments to the Constitution. So, coming to this cemetery, which was serendipitous, reminds us of what we're really fighting about. And those people who sort of would lull us into thinking that nothing special is going on are missing the fact that there's a great danger in this nation, that people who have committed crimes are not being forced to account for those crimes. And in history, when that happens, you pay for it. And we can pay for it by losing our democracy. That's the very, very worst thing that could happen. Because, let's face it, a group like this, should they come to power, having had no rule or understanding of what was their purpose in governing, except just to have the power, as they do now, in which they do not govern, they just seek power and they favor for themselves and deny others freedom. So, when you think of the group of characters, McCarthy and company in the House, and those in the Senate, and those that are going to be campaigning in your neighborhood, keep in mind that this is what they're fighting about. They're fighting the Civil War still. They don't call it that, some do, but they are still trying to implement the very inhumane notions of how we should treat one another in this nation. So, it's an interruption in our, our celebration. But we can never let what's wrong with America get too far away from us, because we will pay for it if we ignore it. There was just the other day a representative from Garland telling us to be patient and wait, and we don't know how complicated it is. Well, I don't know how old this person is or what he's done or what trials he's had. But Maine justice has failed us repeatedly in my own lifetime, and it's hard to believe that they're not failing now when it takes 2 years to take down a president, that is Trump, who would have overturned the election he lost and who would have overturned our nation and handed it over to the autocrats. That is, these people behind me. This is what we're fighting, and we should think about it and remember it when we go day to day. All the best. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.